This is Sergeant Sarah Ashton Cirillo of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and you're watching episode 23 of Russia Hates the Truth.
נא להכיר שרה אשטון סרילו, הרכש החדש של מחלקת הדוברות בצבא האוקראיני.
Good morning, everyone.
מיד נספר לכם על כל עלילות הקרב של שרה גיבורת אוקראינה, ממש למן הימים הראשונים למלחמה, אבל ראשית צריך להבין עד כמה הגברת הזו מחרפנת את שופרות התעמולה של הקרמלין, שנטשו את הדיבורים על דנאציפיקציה, והחלו ממקדים את הבליסטראות שלהם בשרה ידידתנו.
И еще об Украине. Чтобы не отступать от модных тенденций, официальным спикером ВСУ для западной аудитории стал трансгендер. Это 46-летняя Сара Эштон Чирило. Еще 4 года назад это был мужчина по имени Майкл Джон Чирило. Но потом что-то пошло не так. Майкл стал пить гормоны, совершил переход, то есть превратил себя в женщину и отправился воевать на Украину.
Неудачи на фронте ВСУ пытается замаскировать медийно. Когда-то мужчина Эштон Чирило 5 лет назад бросил жену, детей и начал называть себя Сарой. После начала спецоперации отправилась на Украину, была ранена. И вот слава пришла в виде должности спикера ВСУ для англоязычных зрителей.
Hello, Sarah Ashton Cirillo, and thank you so much for the interview.
It's a pleasure to be here this morning here in Ukraine. It was a great honor to speak to you this morning, and I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
May I start by asking you, why do you think the Russians have decided to pick on you personally? You are not the president of Ukraine, you're not the chief of staff. What do they want from you personally?
What I represent to the Russians is freedom. That's why they hate me. I am someone who was able to overcome a lot of obstacles in life. I was able to speak freely on camera, as you well know, we're speaking right now. And this is why they've turned their anger and hate towards Sergeant Sarah Ashton Cirillo of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and not someone else.
שבוע לאחר פרוץ המלחמה, שרה אשטון סרילו מגיעה לאוקראינה ככתבת של מגזין של הקהילה הגאה. היא הולכת רחוק כמו שהלכה בדרך כלל בחייה עד לקווי החזית.
This is what it sounds like every day in Saltivka.
אבל אז העיתונאית שרה אשטון סרילו חשה הזדהות כל כך עזה עם המסוכרים שלה, שהיא פשוט חוצה את הקווים והופכת ללוחמת בצבא אוקראינה.
Fire.
Hey, you know, you are an American from Las Vegas. That's not your war. So what made you be so totally engaged?
It was a process. I came over as a journalist. I ended up taking a next step, which was to become the director of outreach for the territorial district of Zolochiv in Kharkiv Oblast. So Zolochiv runs along the Russian border. Directly on it, I would say to this day, no one from outside of Ukraine has spent more time along the Russian border than I have.
שרה אשטון בחרה לגור בחרקיב, אחת הערים האוקראיניות המטווחת ביותר בידי הצבא הרוסי, משם היא תיעדה לא מעט מתקפות כנגד אזרחים.
And then living in Kharkiv, I also saw every day and every night that the terrorism was increasing. There's no other way to put it. Russia is a terrorist state. The final decider for me was to be on hand for 3 out of the 5 days that the bodies were being exhumed in Izium, where over 400 Ukrainian civilians were buried in mass graves. And after that, I went to my commander and I said, I'm ready to enlist.
So it was a moral decision, may I say?
Yes, I made the choice based on what could I do to best fight back against the Russian terrorism and the Russian war crimes.
We're on our way to liberate Crimea and all of Ukraine from the Russian invaders.
שרה אשטון סרילו הופכת לחובשת קרבית ביחידת חי"ר בקווי החזית. היא לא רק התרוצצה בין השוחות לטפל בחיילים פצועים, אלא גם פצחה במפעל גיוס תרומות ואמצעי סיוע למאמץ המלחמתי האוקראיני.
I'm talking to you from here in the Donbass at the front lines of the war against the Russian invaders. And my great friends at the Liberty Ukraine Foundation sent my unit a tremendous amount of items that are going to be used. You can see some sleeping bags. Here's my commander. Sasha is holding our power bank. And then you can see my sergeants holding different items, sleeping bags and thermals.
You truly are leading the way to victory for Ukraine and the United States. Slava Ukraini.
Can I ask you at this stage, if this is okay, how did the guys in the front accepted you? An American, a woman, a trans woman, that requires big portions of tolerance, acceptance, and liberalism.
The focus at the front, as it is throughout the rest of Ukraine, is on liberty. It's on liberation. It's on deoccupation. So at the front, gender never came up, truly. In any capacity, gender identity, sexuality, nothing ever came up because we were focused all on doing our duties. Ultimately, I had to earn the respect of the people I was serving with, but they saw immediately that I was serious, that I was focused on my job at hand. And once I earned that respect, there truly was no issue ever.
Then came your injury.
Sarah, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, sir.
There's a video out there that I guess you're going to play.
Sure.
You know what? They can't kill us. They can't hurt us.
It's a day that they say you'll never forget, right?
Victory is ours. It doesn't fucking matter. Why? Because we're Ukraine.
We were north of Kremena in the woods at the line of contact. So we were fighting at the zero line.
And ultimately, Putin is going to be the one dead.
We were getting ready.
Prigozhin is going to be the one dead.
And I was the one who was hit.
And this is a small price for liberation and for freedom.
War became so personal to me in that moment. And that's when I made the statements that before any of us would die, before any of us would lose, it would be Putin. And Putin would die and Prigozhin would die. And I stand with this.
הרעיון הזה אגב צולם אתמול בבוקר. לפנות ערב התממשו 50% מהתחזיות של שרה אשטון סרילו, כשפריגוז'ין, מפקד כוח וגנר, חוסל בהתרסקות מטוס מעל מוסקבה, ככל הנראה בהוראתו של המחצית השנייה של התחזית שלה.
I have to ask you, I see the bandages. Are you okay? What's been happening over the last 24 hours or so?
An intense amount of fighting broke out.
Not only did you stay in the trenches, but you also gave an interview to CBS when you were seriously injured.
We were in a significant fight. We inflicted tremendous casualties on the invading forces, but the reality is I was hit by shell fragments. I've lost part of my hand, and I have significant scarring on my face. However, we decided to go ahead with this interview.
That interview had been weeks in the planning. So at that point, I messaged the producer at CBS. I said, listen, I've just been injured. Do you still want to do this? Because it's pretty gnarly. And of course, they said they did.
Of course.
And ultimately...
We're journalists, you know. That's a good story.
Of course.
We wanted to get the message out that Ukraine is stronger than ever after 1 year of the full-scale invasion. And we are looking forward to completing the victory and pushing Russia out and achieving the 1991 borders that President Zelensky has stated is our goal.
I guess it went well. Ultimately, I'm now in position of spokesperson for the Territorial Defense Forces. I wouldn't suggest it for most people, but then again, my story is a little bit unique, and therefore it's just another part of it, yes.
It's been a very intense few days here at Zero Line.
מהחזית המזרחית שרה אשטון סרילו מונתה באחרונה לעמוד בחזית התקשורת הבינלאומית של צבא אוקראינה, משם היא מפיקה סרטונים ועולה לשידור לייב כדי להסביר את מהלכי המלחמה.
Anything that Russia goes ahead and touches around the world does nothing but break. Slava Ukraini.
היא כאמור מרגיזה מאוד את הרוסים, אבל בזמן האחרון יש לה אתגר חדש, להסביר לעולם את מהלכי מתקפת הנגד האוקראינית. The counter-offensive is not reaching fully its goals, not yet at least. Is there a chance, Sarah, that Russia will win this war, or at least will not lose it?
Russia cannot win this war of aggression against Ukraine, no question. Ultimately, we have announced why the counteroffensive is going more slowly than people had thought, focusing on softening up the Russian supply lines while also hitting some of their key infrastructure areas. We announced when we destroy ammunition depots, and we also announced how much territory we've taken back.
נשיא אוקראינה זלנסקי ממשיך במסעותיו בבירות העולם לגייס נשק עבור צבאו. אחרי טנקי הלאופרד והאברמס וטילי הפטריוט וההימארס, הוא עכשיו מגייס כמה טייסות F-16 מההולנדים ומהדנים. אבל אנחנו רוצים לחזור לשאלה ששאלנו אותו באחרונה בפסגת נאטו בווילנה, לגבי הסירוב הישראלי לחמש את אוקראינה בנשק, התקפי או הגנתי.
How do you feel nowadays about Israeli support? Do you expect more?
Україна дуже зацікавлена, щоб у нас, між нашими державами, зберігались тісні стосунки. На жаль, поки що результату немає.
זלנסקי נשמע לנו עדיין מתוסכל מהעמדה הישראלית, אבל שרה אשטון סרילו, דוברת בצבא אוקראינה, נשמעת הרבה יותר מפויסת כשהיא מדברת על הסיוע ההומניטרי שישראל בכל זאת מגישה למדינתה.
I want to say specifically thank you to the Israeli people and to the Israeli policymakers who have decided to give us a tremendous amount of humanitarian support. I'm not here to call into question what our Israeli partners have not provided. I'm here to say that I'm personally grateful, and I know so many who are personally grateful to the Israeli people for what they've done for us, and that they continue to stand by us in the best methods and manners that they can.
Sarah Ashton Cirillo, you really touched our hearts. Slava Ukraini!
Kyiv Slava!
Thank you so much for the interview and good luck with the mission, new mission.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.